Oh hey, if you want to be a Halloween freak year round, you're gonna love today's episode. Go! Okay, not for you. Shut up. Ooh baby, you know it's Laugh Cry DIY, you know I'm your girl Katie, and you know it's October and I cannot stop with Tropigoth/Whimsigoth Decor. If you don't know, Tropigoth and Whimsigoth are two very cool decor styles that are basically what you would want if you want to live as a witch year round. Last week I introduced you guys to these styles, you said you loved it, you said you wanted more, and while I have another room makeover coming for you guys in a few weeks, in the meantime I thought let's do another round of fun, cheap, super cute Tropigoth Whimsigoth themed decor. Now everything I'm doing today is stuff that I had on hand, and it's things that you guys can get from the dollar store, from a thrift store, from the craft store. You can source it all very easily, you can customize it as you want. And the only requirement for myself was that I wanted to make kind of creepy, fun, macabre crafts that I would either keep up year round or that you wouldn't necessarily notice were so creepy on first glance. So let's do it. Craft number one. I was recently at the thrift store and I saw these bookends. And I have been wanting to make bookends for a while. I also think that bookends are super versatile because if you get nice strong metal ones, they can be bookends, they can be like wall ledges, and they can even be like sconces almost. So these are awesome because they are strong, they are metal, and they happen to look like tombstones. So I thought, what if we could do some fun bookends that were kind of fun, kind of kitschy, and kind of unexpected? Luckily, I have these bookends and leftover foam from when I built my faux fireplace. If you haven't seen me build my faux fireplace out of foam, you can watch that episode linked below. So I have this piece of foam and it is 2 inches thick, which is actually too thick for me. So I'm just gonna trace the shape and then we're gonna cut it in half. All right, so we're gonna cut this in half for both, but first I'm gonna smooth it out just with some fine grained sandpaper. I might as well just smooth it all out now so when I cut it in half, it's the perfect shape. And trust me, you're gonna want a mask to do this unless you wanna end up with your own tombstone from inhaling toxic toxins. Yeah. So I can see that I'm like slightly a little bit low on this side, but I'm actually gonna build that up with joint compound, so I think we're gonna be okay. And basically, I don't wanna redo this. Oh. Ah, these look so good. I think these look so good, I think we're done. No, we are going to, of course, jazz up our tombstones with some beautiful inscriptions. Now I know there's a lot of fun tombstone inscriptions you can do. Love them, love the puns, but this is a very small kind of canvas we have to work with. So we're gonna keep it simple, elegant, classic, RIP baby. Now there's 2 ways to do this. You can carve into the foam or you can add elements on top of the foam to kind of make it more 3D. First I'm gonna trace in the letters and then we're gonna carve them out. You know we measured it, and you knew we drew it in somehow off center. Okay, new approach. This is graph paper. We're gonna draw the perfectly centered pattern on the graph paper. 5 years later, I have 2 designs for 2 tombstones. Skull and crossbones, RIP. So I think what I'm gonna do is actually cut these stencils out so that I can trace them onto those and then officially carve them. And of course, the most important part of this is remembering not to cut out the wrong part. Like I wanna keep the eyes and the nose, and I don't wanna cut those out. And this does feel a little bit like the game Operation, like you're doing brain surgery. And I like that for me. Whatever. We could paint these straight up like this, but I do want to try to avoid the styrofoam look if I can. I'd like to give it a little bit of a smoother surface. So I'm gonna use all-purpose joint compound. This is what you put over drywall to kind of give it a little bit more of a plaster effect and kind of seal those pores to give a smooth finish for the foundation, if you know what I mean. So I'm going back in with a Q-tip to anywhere that it got into the carved pattern. One good thing is you can also smooth that joint compound into the pattern if you want a little bit smoother surface, or if you carved a little bit too low and it's like very uneven. Okay, we're back, we're dry, and I'm just smoothing out our joint compound. You can also like add cracks to these tombstones. I've seen people do that in cool ways. For me today, I'm gonna choose to just say no to cracks, but that is something you could always do. Now, confession time. I have really struggled over what color I should paint these. Should I go classic tombstone gray, or should I do a fun color like pink? And I have chosen to do something shocking, which is the first and last time you'll ever see this on my channel, which is paint something gray. So first I'm just painting in the black detail, and then I'm going over back with the gray to do a full opaque coverage. All right, these are looking beautiful. I'm gonna let them dry. I will go back in and fill in a little bit here and there where I might have overpainted, but overall they're looking good, and we're gonna come back for something else. All right, we got our bookends. We have two beautiful tombstones, but we need to add a little bit more pizzazz. I wanna add a little grass front, and what I actually have in my stash is some peel and stick little moss. How cute is that? Okay, not for you. Shut up. And I am actually just gonna hot glue it on because it has some stickiness on it, but like not the most. You guys, I get so happy when things that have sat in my stash for a long time get used again. Oh, gorgeous. Next step, we are simply going to hot glue these on. Super easy, super simple. Your mom, your grandma, your estranged uncle could all do it. Now, these are looking cute, but I did want to add one more thing to give a little punch of fun and color. There are a lot of things you could do on this little grass grave. You could like bust up a skeleton and put little body parts so it's like coming out of the ground. You could put a little like candle, but you know, every grave does need some flowers. So I got these fun little paper flowers at the thrift store once, but I am just cutting them off and using a little raffia ribbon to tie a sweet little bouquet so that we can rest that in front of the grave and honor our beautiful fake dead. Okay, let's move on to our next craft. All right, craft number 2. I love being able to use things that I already have, especially being able to like reimagine things that I've had and not had a use for a while. And this is gonna be a little bit more Whimsigoth, forest witchy vibes. So what I have here is one of these classic little triangle frame shelves. These come in squares, they come in hexagons, all sorts of styles. And it's wood, and for a long time I've been like, oh, should I paint this? What should I do with it? But I realized that there is one very fun kind of macabre and witchy way to spruce this up, and that would be to add a backing for the shelf and actually to make it a spider web backing. So what I have here is a bunch of twine from the dollar store, and I wanted to keep this in the same kind of color scheme, so that's why we have the twine. And I also wanted this to be something that was like something you would see and kind of do a double take to see what it actually is. So I have these very, very tiny nails and a hammer, and we are going to create our base of the web, like the core structure, and then we're gonna weave in the pattern around it. Now, a spider web is very easy to make in whatever shape you have. You basically just wanna have like a top, side, and then 2 kind of angles to make it basically kind of a star shape. You can pretty much kind of fudge that in any sort of shape. We have a triangle, which is a little funky, but we can still do it. So I'm hammering in nails at all of my start and stop points on the back. And now I am just knotting off, and I wanna make sure it's really tight. So it goes 1 down, 1 across. Then we're doing it on the diagonal to create this star pattern in the middle and nailing them all the way flush flat. And we're gonna start weaving the web pattern through. Okay, so the way you start this is you tie a knot at the distance that you want your first kind of web weave to start. And then you just start wrapping it and looping it through the next portion. And you wanna make sure that those loops are like nice and tight. And you're just, again, wrapping over, looping, and then you can just knot it off So there you can see our first little one, and then you just keep going and going and going. And I'm also mixing around the knots so that it's kind of just all over the place and not in one particular like line all the way down. Is it any surprise that Baguette came to join us since we're doing a string-based craft? So we've come this far, but we can't keep looping using the full web. So we need to put in some anchor points like here and here to like continue these small little segments all around. And the way I'm gonna do that is to use those same nails on the side, and that will kind of just create the anchor points for us to create the weaving pattern going forward. Although, okay, I'm not gonna lie, this actually looks kind of cool just as this, but I am gonna complete the whole thing because I do want to. But if you wanted to go a little funky, you could just do kind of a partial weave. So the easiest way I've found to do this is to loop your little string, tuck your little nail through it, pull that tight, and place your nail where you want the next kind of segment to go. And same thing, I'm just looping it at the end. You guys, I know this is wild, but what if you did this on a full bookcase that didn't have a backing on it? That would be so cool. You guys, someone must have put a spell on me because between this piece and the tombstones, I'm doing grays and neutrals. Like, what is happening? Something fun about this craft is that it will also make you feel like a tiny little cobbler elf. All right, you guys, I think this bad boy is done, and you are gonna see its final look later. All right, craft number 3. I went into my craft box and found a bunch of these, which are just these wooden little like dollar store frames that I have. And I thought it would be cool if we could repurpose these as a sort of like Victorian shadow box display, where we had a frame and then we had something interesting and macabre in the middle. So we are actually going to use these frames inside out. The front side has this like detailed and like beveled edge. We are not gonna use that. We are gonna use the back side because it is simple and flat, and that way we can put a different pattern on it without it being interrupted by the contours of the beveling. And it'll have the back kind of inset a little bit so that we can put the thing we want to in the middle. So for the pattern for these frames, I thought if we're going kind of like Tropigoth fun, a little bit goth, a little whimsical, let's give a nod to Tim Burton, and we're gonna do some classic black and white stripes. And we're back and dry. And to make the stripes, I'm just gonna tape off with some little washi tape I have. Thank you for helping. Do you guys know that somebody commented and said that they would not keep watching my channel if I allowed my cat to continue to interrupt? That is hilarious. Alrighty, that tape actually worked out absolutely perfectly. Do I regret that we're not painting these pink and white? Yeah, but we're being goth girls, we're going black and white. Let's do that. Ooh, look at these beauties. And now we are ready to fill those frames with something interesting. Now, I'm not gonna lie, originally I wanted these to be filled with skeleton hands that were doing obscene gestures, but I could not find skeleton hands to scale that would articulate in that way. If you find them, send me a link. But I did want to put in something interesting and like slightly macabre, but still kind of fun and tropical. And therefore I was like, what if we did fake dead butterflies? And I went to Michael's and I found jewel tone butterflies in a variety of sizes. And that means that that's what the universe wanted for us. So I'm just gonna hot glue these in and we're gonna have fun with it. Not for you, goodbye. Oh my God, do not show the camera that part of you, please. All right, these are ready. It's all ready. And now it is time for your final review. And that concludes part 2 of our Tropigoth Whimsigoth journey. I think that these are so fun. Between these and the last batch I did, which if you guys haven't seen is linked below, I would even want to like mix and match. Like I want to put the ghosts on the graves, all that kind of fun stuff. So I hope you guys have enjoyed me haunting your dreams this season. So if you like this, like it. If you want to subscribe, subscribe. And until next time, happy Halloween season from me and my familiar.